Yo, what up, Longnecker fam? I'm Ian.
And I'm Sam.
And this is Crash Course World History. Today, we'll be talking to you about the Black Death. The Black Death was one of the most deadly pandemics to strike the world in the 1300s. The Black Death was a combination of plagues that all took place around the same time.
These plagues included the bubonic plague, the pneumonic plague, and the septicemic plague.
Together, these outbreaks, since about 500 CE, when the earliest outbreaks occurred, have accounted for over 80 million deaths. Fun fact, the word bubo in Greek actually means groin or swelling of the lymph nodes. All this today and more on Crash Course World History.
I can't.
The Black Death was one of the most deadly catastrophes in modern history, but it wasn't actually the first time the plague had affected the world. But before we go more into that, time for the fun fact of the day. It's very hard to pick up women or men during the Black Death. No. In 541 CE, the original Justinian plague struck the Byzantine Empire, which included Rome and more specifically Constantinople. This plague alone accounted for 30 million deaths, or about half of the world's population at the time. The Justinian spread all throughout Europe as well as in Africa and Asia. The name of the Justinian plague actually came from the emperor of the Byzantine at the time, Justinian I. He actually contracted the disease and survived, which was very uncommon at the time. The spread? Well, it was spread by rats on ships or through trade routes coming into the Byzantine.
The plagues were actually all linked. They are thought to be caused by a bacteria carried by fleas. This bacteria's name was Yersinia pestis, which was carried by rodents who were bitten by infected fleas. The difference between the versions of the plague are simply the location of the infection in the body. The bubonic plague is an infection of the lymphatic system, the pneumonic plague is an infection of the respiratory system, and the septicemic plague is an infection of the bloodstream. The most common of the three plagues caused by Yersinia pestis. The bubonic plague was by far the most common, killing an estimated maybe 50 million people in Europe. The bubonic plague was accounted for maybe 99% or more of all the Black Death's deaths, and its symptoms are chills, high fever, muscle cramps, seizures, smooth, painful lymph glands swelling.
A quote relating to the bubonic plague was said by Guy de Chaudiac. He was a plague doctor during the 1300s, and he is talking about how contagious the bubonic plague actually was. It is so contagious that even by looking at another person, you are likely to catch it. The plague actually started in Asia, and a large part of that was because of the Mongols. The Mongols protected the trade routes in the 1300s, which made it a lot safer and easier to do for almost everybody. This also made it easier for the rats to travel as well. They jumped on board with the travelers. This led to more diseases being spread throughout the world and most highly populated areas. The Black Death actually had a huge part in the fall of the Mongols. Many Mongol rulers were actually struck by the plague itself, and they ended up losing control and power. The plague struck almost all of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia in the 1300s. Many people isolated themselves from absolutely everything. Trading, which became highly dangerous due to the plague, became restricted. Also, people were not allowed to travel because of the danger it brought to the community. While others thought the plague could be cured by drinking, just having fun. This only led to the plague being spread more. Also, many thought the plague was actually spread by the dead body odor in the air. Many people would carry around flowers, and doctors would even try and use different scents to try and cure patients. These included mint, onion, and amber. Doctors tried to heal people in numerous ways. These techniques included bloodletting, cutting the boil itself, diet, or even sometimes witchcraft. Some things at home people tried were eating cooked onions, or even just sitting in the sewer sometimes.
Now it's time to go to The Thought Bubble by Sam Zhang. As you can see on the right, there's a community. In this community, there are residents. There's a wall protecting that community. On the outside of the community, you will see an enemy soldier. During times of war, Mongols realized that if they launched dead bodies over the wall protecting the community, then the people in the community would become infected.
So, during the time of the Black Death, it was actually unknown what caused it. Some actually thought it could have been the Italians, who were aware of the Black Death, but didn't exactly know how it was spread, but they knew their people were getting sick. Also, Milan, a large city, was untouched for a very long time. Others actually thought it was caused by the Jews. At times, they would be tortured into admitting things they didn't even do. But if it was not caused by the Italians or Jews, many people actually pointed to God. Divine punishment is what it's called. People started to lose faith in God because they believed he was angry with the human race. Some people punished themselves to make up for the sin that they thought they had done. These people were called flagellants. They would go in public, whip themselves, hurt themselves, even cut themselves to ask for forgiveness. Power was becoming less and less for the churches at the time. More and more people were praying to God, but no one was answering. These people thought the cures would come with God's forgiveness, but at this time, the plague was unavoidable.
An open letter to rodents, but first, let's see what's inside the secret compartment. A picture of Pikachu. Pikachu is a mouse, one of the many types of rodents that carried the Black Death and spread it across all of Europe and most of the Middle East. But despite how bad the Black Death was, there were some good things about it. For one, hygiene definitely improved, and then the economy improved a lot too. Before, the social structure was very much just a bunch of landowners and everyone else working for these landowners. So if you were a landowner, you were probably pretty darn happy, but everyone else was just eh. But after the Black Death, since most of the people in the known world died, there were many job openings, and then most of the job openings required higher pay, or people wouldn't do them. So everyone started getting paid more, and then the economy rose a lot. Also, hygiene improved because people didn't want to get the Black Death. They started brushing their teeth, washing their hands, and before the Black Death, the hygiene here was minuscule at best. But after the Black Death, everyone was very welcome to the idea of brushing their teeth or using soap or hand sanitizer, not that they had that. Lastly, medicine also improved throughout Europe. Before the Black Death, almost all medical techniques were theoretical, and most of them were just, oh yeah, we think this will work. But after it, they only used recorded techniques. For example, Guy de Chauliac wrote a book. He was a plague doctor who survived, and we still use it now. So the Black Death really was a good thing.
Best wishes, Sam Zhang. So today, we learned that the Black Death was one of the most deadly pandemics to ever strike human life. But it actually wasn't the first. The plague was completely unavoidable unless you were a hermit and completely removed yourself from society. But back then, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that's what we would all do. The plague now is still around, but completely avoidable with common
Thank you for
antibiotics.
watching this episode of Crash Course World History. I'd like to thank my beautiful mother Sue, my father Tom, my amazing puppy Elfie, and Sam Zhang, of course. There's one other special person I'd like to thank, Melissa Longnecker. She is the greatest AP World History teacher I've ever had. I wish I could have her for the rest of my life. Every single class taught to me before I die. Please give me extra credit on this assignment. And remember, kids, you may think you're safe, you're never safe. The plague is still out there. Stay awesome.
The Black Death was one of the most deadliest.
Remember, the Black Death was bad. Also, Milan, a large city.